Hey, Curt Hennig fans. Hello and welcome to another episode of Curt Hennig Was the Best, Changed My Mind. I am your host, Steph. This is episode 29. Today on our Perfect Podcast, we're going to watch along to Curt's match with Steve Mongo McMichael when Curt won the United States Championship belt on Nitro after turning on Ric Flair and joining the NWO at Fall Brawl. I love this match because Curt was excellent in WCW, even if he didn't think so. But before we start, please join me on my YouTube and Rumble channels where if you like what you hear, you can subscribe, comment, like, and share so we can grow these channels. The links for both will be in the description field below this video. I have a new theme song. Of course, because of copyright reasons, I will only be able to show it at the beginning of my episodes on Rumble. So to see this special Rumble exclusive, check out the link for my Rumble channel in the description field below this video. Please check it out today. I would like to give a shout out and thank you to my paid patron supporter Charlie Brown Politics. Thank you, Charlie Brown, for your support. If you too would like to support my channel for as low as $1 a month, please click the link in the description field below this video to become a paid patron supporter. You will also get your name read on the show. For $3 a month, you get your name read on the show and you get to ask me a question, which I will read and answer. For $5 a month, you get all this plus an exclusive behind the scenes of how I do my show and also blooper reel because trust me, I screw up a lot. For $10, you get all this and access to a live patron show where you can learn more about me. So please click the link in the description field below this video to sign up today. We have reached our next milestone. We have reached over 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. Please help me to reach my next milestone and get 5,000 subscribers. Please also help me to reach 100 followers on Rumble. All links in the description field below this video. You can now follow me on Locals for free. If you would like to support the show, you can join for just $2 a month on Locals. Thank you for your support. Okay, guys, we're back. So, yeah, this is a great match. This would be just after Fall Brawl, so this will be after Curt slams the cage door on Flair's head, which is one of my favorites because I didn't like Ric Flair. So all you Ric Flair fans, I'm sorry, but I just did not like Ric Flair at all. And I recently found out that it was Ric Flair behind the scenes who kind of X'd Curt getting the belt in 93. So not a big supporter of Ric Flair to begin with, and I definitely wasn't after hearing that. So and I think maybe that's why kind of they were flailing with Curt between, you know, going to the Four Horsemen or not going to the Four Horsemen. And like I said on, Pro Wrestling Talk, it just kind of didn't make sense. Or maybe not Pro Wrestling Talk, but I think I talked about this with, Matt, Grassfire, who I just want to plug something real quick, guys. You know, we have it probably will already be done, but we do have a new show coming up. It's called Black Magic Talk. If you can check it out, great. You know, we're going to talk about everything Wiccan pagan. So if you're really into that, check us out. We're going to record on Monday, March 4th. And then the new episode will drop on my Mrs. Witchy Perfect channel. So, that link will be in the description field, because I'm mentioning it. So, but anyway, what I think they should have done, and I was telling Matt this, who was Grassfire, who I just recently dropped an episode of him coming on my show, and I apologize. I don't know what was going on. We were having technical difficulties. For some reason, my Chrome just kept crapping out on me. I'm going to see if I need to use a different web browser. I may just go and use Firefox for that. So I'm not really sure what happened there. I do apologize, and I didn't keep that going for long because I wanted it to be at least 2 hours long. But because we were having such bad difficulties, I was like, well, unfortunately, we're just going to have to get this to 55 minutes. And honestly, guys, it didn't happen when we were offline, and I talked to him longer offline than I did, when we recorded. So, But again, look out for that Black Magic Talk. Him and I are going to start a new show. I'm going to be hosting. He's going to be co-hosting, and we're going to have some really special guests. It's all things Wiccan pagan. If you can check it out, that's great. If you've never heard of it before, you never heard of Wicca, you never heard of paganism, if and you just want to know more about it, what we do, what we're about. I think episode 1 is going to be like, how did we find this path, or how did we come to this path? He's pagan and he follows the Norse gods, and I'm Wiccan and I, pray to Hecate. So, we're going to talk more about that on that show, and that will be coming out, like I said, March 4th. We're going to get together and record an episode. Hopefully it will be 2 hours long. I'm hoping it'll be longer than our other one about wrestling. I do apologize, guys. It just kept crapping out on me. I'm like, I can't do this. So that's why it's only 55 minutes long. But hopefully our first episode of Black Magic Talk will be longer than that. So, like I said, I think I'm going to go back and use Firefox because, I did get a warning message that, StreamYard, the version of Chrome I was using wasn't kosher with it. So, it is what it is. We'll deal with it how we deal with it. So, and since this is February 28th when I'm recording this, so I'm way ahead in episodes, guys, and I like to do that so that I can, if I want to, I could take a week where I just don't record anything, but I still can drop an episode. I'd hate to leave my fans with nothing because I am over 7,000 subscriptions. Thank you so much, guys. I am so happy and overwhelmed with so much of the support that I've been getting. I can't tell you how you guys are so awesome. I love each and every one of you. And, as I told, people on Pro Wrestling Talk, I can't believe, or I told, Grassfire, I can't believe there's so many people who, want to hear what I have to say and want to talk about Curt. So, thank you so much for your support. If you can give to Patreon as low as $1 a month, please do so. Again, just completely overwhelmed with how much people have really been coming out for us, or coming out for me. And if it wasn't for certain people, Angel, Kit, I just want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank my man for also supporting me and telling me every day that I can do it. Thank you so much, dear. I love you. My dad, he's been a big supporter of me. And of course, my son has also been a big supporter of, he's always asked me, Mommy, what are you doing in your room? Well, I'm recording my show, honey. But, I love my son, so I'm definitely going to give a shout out to him. I don't want to say his name, even though I probably have said his name several times. Just haven't realized it, but, I just would rather not say his name, not in this episode. So, but let's get to the match. So, like I said, this is around the time, this is just after Fall Brawl 97, and this would be when Curt shut the cage door on Flair's head. And I was telling Grassfire that I think, or Matt, his name is Matt, I definitely think that they should have, poop or get off the pot here. This is, a big one where I thought that they were, how do I put this? I just didn't like how, they did the whole thing with Curt coming in and then, Flair wanting him to go to the Four Horsemen. I just think, okay, so if this is how you're going to do it, and of course Curt had a say in it. I'm sure that, after what happened with Flair, that he kind of didn't want to be a part of that. But what I will say is that, I just think that if he had come in the end of June and they said, okay, Curt, you're going to go to the Four Horsemen. We know you don't like Flair. You can just kind of ignore him or do whatever, but you're going to have some matches with him. and he could have had the singles match that he had with DDP, and Flair still would have came out, and we will watch over that match, watch along to that match. There was a match at Hog Wild, or what they call Sturgis, North Dakota, where they did Hog Wild 1997, and it was DDP versus Curt Hennig, and Curt will win the match. But not after, it was after, and no thanks to, Ric Flair taking the diamond cutter on the floor, and then Curt kind of does his Hennig Plex and gets DDP, so the 1, 2, 3. I like this match better than the Starrcade match because I think that, I'm a big Curt Hennig fan. I'm not a big DDP fan. I did not like that dude. I didn't like his gimmick. I pretty much hated everything about DDP, and I kind of know why. Because I wasn't drawn to him, even though he was a huge babyface, but I was more of a Curt Hennig person, so the NWO and a Curt Hennig person. So, of course, DDP was against the NWO. I just couldn't get on the DDP bandwagon, even though a lot of NWO people also like DDP. Couldn't jump on that bandwagon. Sorry guys, I tried. But you do have, a great match here. Like I said, if they had just gone with the whole, join the Four Horsemen at the beginning, and once he joins, he can do whatever he needs to do at that point. And then, gain the trust of the Four Horsemen and also the fans. I mean, I think this would be a great one to get even bigger heat than what he had. Now, he had heat. Let's just put that to bed right now. He had heat, okay? With the Steve Mongo McMichael, match and the whole thing where he shut the cage door on Flair's head. And they wanted to recreate that, as Flair says, when the cage door was shut on Kerry Von Erich's face. I actually saw that. That's actually, if you look up the Life and Times of Mr. Perfect, Flair does admit that they were trying to recreate that. So, and great, do whatever you need to do. I say, if that's what you want to do. But I just think that he should have joined the Four Horsemen when he first came in. And like I said, Curt probably wasn't digging it because, his animosity and feud with Flair, kind of behind the scenes, if Flair had done that to me, I'd be super not happy. Let's put it that way. And I could kind of see where Curt's coming from, but it needs to be like, well, just do the job. Just please do this job. It would make more sense and the story would actually, and as I was telling my man, because he also is a big Curt Hennig fan, and he agreed with me, it just doesn't make sense for him to do this spot thing, take Arn Anderson's spot. I mean, he could have just said, at the beginning, when he first came in and Flair wanted him to be a part of the Four Horsemen, fine, do that. But I mean, the whole spot thing, and then, it's like 2 weeks before Fall Brawl, and everyone, Curt, it just seemed like we already knew that Curt was going to turn. You know what I mean? It was already predictable. And to make it not predictable, I think it would have been better if they had just said, Curt, just do the job for us this time, and then you can, turn on him at Fall Brawl. So if he had had all that time with the Four Horsemen, gaining all that trust and then gaining the trust of the fans, I think the heat would have come a little harder. Now, I'm not saying that Curt didn't have heat when he slammed the cage door on Flair's head. He probably did, and I'm sure he received death threats because of that. I just don't... The heat could have been much better. So getting heat from those fans could have been much deeper. And I was discussing this with my man too, that, Eric Bischoff had said on his episode talking about Curt, he was talking about, we shouldn't have done it in Charlotte. Where else would it make sense to do it? I I mean, he was billed out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Or was it South Carolina? I think it was North Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where Ric Flair was billed. Okay, yeah, he lived in Minnesota. But does anyone remember Ric Flair from Minnesota? No, we all remember the Nature Boy Ric Flair who had come out of Charlotte, North Carolina. So where else would you do it that it would make sense and you would get heat for Curt? Remember, you're trying to get heat for Curt because he's going to turn. He's going to turn to the NWO. He's going to shut the cage door on Flair's head. So when you're talking about heat, there was nowhere else, and please don't apologize for doing something correctly. See, I think that's the problem with a lot of these promoters, is when they did something right and did something correctly, they apologized for it. Don't do that, guys. You literally just slapped every wrestling fan in the face who enjoyed watching that. And the people who, I'm not coming back, because, he slammed the cage door, they didn't like that because they knew it was fake, that somehow it was faking, or they didn't, it's not that they didn't hate it because it happened in Charlotte, North Carolina, and those people won't pay tickets. There's people that are going to do that, and it's not because Curt was trying to get heat. Those people are the people who want to see Curt get his comeuppance. So they come back the next night at Charlotte, North Carolina, and they, when they're live on Nitro, they're going to hope that Steve Mongo McMichael is going to beat the crap out of Curt. It's not because someone doesn't say, I hate this, I can't believe you did this here, and then walk away from it. No, they're going to want to see Curt get his comeuppance. That's called heat. That's called getting heat. And those people that walked away are the people who didn't understand what was going on, and they didn't think it was real. Okay, and they had no intention of seeing Curt get his comeuppance. Those are fake fans. In my opinion, they're fake fans. They already knew that this was bull. And it didn't make sense. Storyline didn't make sense to begin with, because he joined like 2 weeks beforehand. He joined the Four Horsemen. So I just think that there was a lot of miscues and steps, and I hate to be, the record player and replay the record, but I agree that Bischoff didn't know what to do with Bret Hart or Curt Hennig. Because again, as soon as Curt comes in, you get him on the Four Horsemen, he gains all that trust, and as soon as they, he goes to turn on them, it's, that mean person. I don't want to swear, guys, because, this, some of this is going on YouTube. That mean person, he screwed us all. You know what I mean? That's how you get heat. You get people to trust you, and then you turn on them. That's called getting heat, guys. That's the main reason and the main coup de grace of the business. When a guy goes heel, he wants as much heat as possible. I just heard recently that Bobby Heenan was talking about Rick Rude didn't want him to be his manager, because Rick thought that Bobby Heenan was taking Rick's heat. So there may have been a little tension there, but I know that him and Bobby got along, but there might have been some tension there, and that's because Rick thought that Bobby was taking his heat. And Rick lived off of heat. As we all know, Ravishing Rick Rude was a guy who got under the skin of other guys and would, put down the male fans because, they weren't as good as he was. That was his gimmick. That was Ravishing Rick Rude. That's how he got heat. And he thought that Bobby might somehow take that heat from him. Now, I can kind of see where he's coming from, and I kind of see where he's not coming from. I don't think Bobby would have stepped on his heels and taken that heat. I just think he would have gotten him more heat. I think that was maybe Vince's idea when he stuck Bobby and Rick Rude together. But I just don't see Bobby taking the heat away. I see Bobby giving more heat, for Rick Rude. So I think that, I think maybe Rude might have gotten the wrong impression of why he was with Bobby Heenan. I definitely think it was just because he was, because maybe Vince thought, well, if you're with Bobby, then you've made it as a heel and he can get you more heat. If the heat is what you want, Bobby can get it for you. And Bobby was great at getting heat. Everybody knows there's Weasel's chance, and it would pretend to get at the skin, under the skin of Bobby, and he would be like, shut up. Don't chant that. So I think, and I love Rick Rude. I don't want to say that Rick was, a bad person. He was not. Rick was not a bad person. Neither was Bobby. I just think that Rude kind of mistook what Bobby was there for, and it was just to get Rude more heat. So I think he misconstrued, that whole deal. But again, why are we talking about this? It's because Curt was trying to get heat. So Curt was trying to get heat, and that's why he slammed the cage door on Ric Flair's head, at Fall Brawl. So this would be this would be the night after, just after he turned. They were still in Charlotte, North Carolina, so they did, I guess, 2 back-to-back nights. Either that or they kind of filmed both. But, Nitro was live, so they probably just did consecutive nights in Charlotte, North Carolina. So, remember, Curt's gonna get heat here for shutting the cage door, and that's what you wanted. Please don't ever apologize, Eric Bischoff, if he ever does listen to this episode. Please, Eric Bischoff, please do not ever apologize for doing something right. This is something you did right. And those people who walked away and said they wouldn't watch wrestling anymore, it's not because Curt got heat. It's because literally they knew it was fake and it was bullcrap to do a storyline the way they did it. The story should have started as soon as Curt came in. So as soon as he comes in, he goes to the Four Horsemen, he does the Four Horsemen bit, and then he turns at Fall Brawl to the NWO. Not this, I'm a gun for hire, I'm coming in as a free agent, go to the highest bidder crap. That was dumb. I thought it was stupid to do, and again, I just think it has a lot to do with Eric Bischoff not knowing what the heck he wanted to do with Curt Hennig. And I'm not a writer, and I would hope no one wrote this for Curt, because this is bull. That was bull. You should have brought him in, made him a Four Horseman, and then he could, somehow, turn his back. Either that or you don't make him a Four Horseman at all. And you just have him turn on Flair, at Fall Brawl. Whichever you want to do. I don't care how you do it, but you either poop or get off the pot. You make him a Four Horseman when he first comes in, or you make him nothing at all. What they did was bull. That 2 weeks, and then he's going to take Arn Anderson's spot. And I'm sorry, but Curt's face didn't match his response. And that was probably on purpose because Curt was like, why do I have to do this? I shouldn't have to join the Four Horsemen right now. I want to join, either should have joined the Four Horsemen as soon as I came in June of 97, or I should have at least, just came out and turned against Ric Flair or done something different to the, the NWO change. But for heaven's sake, what they did was just, in my opinion, was bogus. You either poop or get off the pot, So, in the grand scheme of things, I just think that the whole spot thing, and we will watch along to that too, because I think and if you watch that, again, watch Curt's face. It doesn't match his response. When he shakes Arn Anderson's hand, you're just like, wait, what? Because his face was like, I can't believe you guys are doing this stuff. I can't believe you're making me do this 2 weeks before Fall Brawl when I'm going to be the NWO anyway, or in the NWO. So that's my opinion about that. Poop or get off the pot. This isn't brain surgery, and this is not, rocket science. This is wrestling, guys. This is about how you tell a story. and how you get Curt heat eventually when he turns on Ric Flair. So when he slams the cage door on Flair's head, that's what got him heat. That was exactly done, exactly right, at the right time. The timing was perfect, no pun intended. And the location of Charlotte, North Carolina was perfect. Again, no pun intended. It was a need to tell a story, and unfortunately, I think at the time, Eric Bischoff must have forgotten, hey, you're doing it in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, because that's where it would hurt the most. That's where Curt would get the most heat. And he did. He did. He got the most heat in Charlotte, North Carolina, exactly where they wanted it to happen, exactly where he needed it to happen, so that he could get that heat. I'm talking, there should have been so much heat there, like the Sergeant Slaughter heat. Everyone remembers when Sergeant Slaughter became an Iraqi sympathizer in the 1990s. And that heat right there, that's the heat that every heel hopes that they will have. That's exactly what Curt had or needed to have going into that. So going into our match that we're going to talk about, that's the kind of heat that he should have had. And that next night on Nitro, he actually does get hit with a bottle of water. That's exactly what you wanted. Please don't apologize for doing something right. This was right. This was perfect. No pun intended. Again, because this is WCW. And he couldn't call himself Mr. Perfect then. But getting back to, it was the perfect way to get Curt that heat. That I hate this dude. I want to see him get his comeuppance. That's what every wrestling heel wants. That's what they strive for. Because they want to make those fans buy more tickets and show up the next night, so they're hoping that Curt will get his comeuppance. The people who walked away knew it was bogus to do it that way. And they didn't want to see any more. It had nothing to do with Curt getting his comeuppance, or that they did it in Charlotte, North Carolina. Where else would it make sense for Curt to get heat? If you did it in Minnesota, Curt wouldn't get heat. Because he wasn't billed. Ric Flair wasn't billed from Minnesota, even though he grew up in Minnesota, I think. Or he lived in Minnesota. Ric Flair, or maybe he was just in the AWA there. I know Flair would visit different territories, and I think AWA was one of them. So, someone check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that, Ric Flair he sort of grew up in Minnesota. I don't think he was born and raised, but I think he grew up there. Anyway, he was billed from Charlotte, North Carolina. And that's the reason why I didn't like the way Eric Bischoff apologized for getting heat. Curt wanted the heat. That's what heels do. They get heat. And they make the baby faces look better when they get heat. And Flair was going to become a baby face anyway. So let him be the baby face and let Curt shut that cage door. It would be no different if it was, Dusty and Ric Flair. If they were going to turn Flair babyface and Dusty heel, Dusty would be the one who shuts the cage door instead of Curt. So again, look at where you are. Look at what you're doing. You're telling a story, and this was a good one. You got the location correctly. Don't apologize for doing good storytelling. And I think that was a lot of what, at the end of WCW, that's a lot of why they failed. They just weren't telling stories anymore. And Curt would have been the greatest storyteller of them all. Oh my gosh, he joined the Four Horsemen and now he turned on them. That is perfect heat. That is exactly WCW or NWA, and that's exactly how you want it. If he was turning face and Flair was turning heel, it would be the other way around. Ric Flair would be shutting the cage door on Curt. Then you would have it in Minnesota, because Curt was billed from Minnesota. But there is nowhere else that should have taken place other than Charlotte, North Carolina. And please don't apologize for doing good storytelling and getting Curt heat. So, now that I blabbed on, the match you're going to see, or that we're going to watch along to, is literally the match the next night. So the next night, they show some pictures of Flair's head, since it had gotten slammed in the cage door. I mean, they have to make it look good. They have to make the story look good. So Curt Hennig did a lot of damage to Ric Flair. Here are the pictures of him having surgery on his head. Okay. And remember, they're setting this up for Halloween Havoc, Curt versus Flair for the United States Championship, and we will be watching along to that as well. Also, I just want to let you guys know that we have reached over 7,000 subs on YouTube. Thank you so much, guys. Like I said, I'm overwhelmed. You guys are so awesome, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Each and every one of you are very special to me, and I'm so glad you like me talking about a professional wrestler who was my favorite wrestler, and I'm sure he was yours too. Even if you love to hate him, he still had that magic about him. So thank you for that. But okay, so if we put ourselves back in 97, this would have been the night after Curt shut the cage door on Flair's head and had that heat. He had that heat, okay? How do I know that? Because when the NWO comes out and they're like I would say it's like the 9 o'clock hour, when they come out, maybe like 9:15 when they come out, and the whole NWO comes out, they talk a little bit, and then they bring out Curt Hennig, who does the whole, he does Flair's music, he's wearing, Rick Rude. Rick Rude must be thinking about me. No, I'm just kidding. Ric Flair, he has his robe on. So when Curt comes out the next night, he's in Flair's ring robe. Okay, so he comes down to the ring and they're talking, and all of a sudden the bottle of water comes out of nowhere and Curt gets hit in the head. That is heat, ladies and gentlemen. That is a fan hated Curt so badly that he threw a bottle of water and it hit Curt right in the head. And Curt even kind of smiles at Eric Bischoff like, yep, see, this is the heat we were talking about. Bischoff knows what he did in this storyline and in this time was exactly what he needed to do to get Curt to the NWO. This is exactly how it needed to happen. Please, 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 Eric Bischoff, if he ever does listen to this, never ever apologize for getting heat for Curt Hennig. Don't ever apologize for that. You don't need to apologize for it, because it was what needed to happen. Okay. So yeah, Curt gets actually hit with a bottle of water. Now, as I had told Kit Cabello and Angel Riviera and others on our channels or on our shows, when you get that kind of heat, and WCW, Eric Bischoff has admitted this on his show. If you ever do go watch his show, that's fine. I just choose not to listen to it anymore. Some of the inconsistencies that Bischoff would talk about, so I just choose not to. But if you actually do listen to some of his older stuff, so when Eric Bischoff first started his show, he admitted that they never really, because he was asked, why do these fans keep throwing stuff into the ring? It's a danger to the wrestlers. And he said, well, we didn't really stop it, but then we didn't really encourage it either. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But because they're having this heat and this celebration, because Curt will go on after he gets hit with the water bottle, I think it was a cup of ice. It had ice in it, I think. Well, anyway, he gets hit in the head with this cup or whatever, and he kind of smiles at Eric Bischoff, and he gets done talking, and he takes off the robe and hands it to Hogan. So he presents Ric Flair's robe to Hollywood Hogan. And I think at the time, this is fine for how it was. This would get him more heat. Of course, the fans were booing and saying Hogan sucks and stuff. That's what they were chanting. But I think if you step back and are not a fan of wrestling, so you're seeing this for the first time, you would think that people hated Curt a lot. And rightfully so. Like I said, the beauty of storytelling is that you actually tell a real story and why people want to see Curt get his comeuppance. This is exactly what needed to happen to get Curt the heat so he could turn to the NWO. So there could be a Ric Flair and Curt Hennig match at Halloween Havoc for the U.S. title. So, after they get out of the ring and they're done talking, there is a match in between, and then, of course, it's the match that we're going to watch along to today. I have a lot to say about this match because Mongo McMichael was a football player and he wasn't really a wrestler. And there's several places where I think that Mongo kind of screws up. As I say, it's kind of like a dance, and you have to let the veteran lead. So you have to let the man lead, so to speak. And I just think that Mongo McMichael gets caught up in some of it and just kind of forgets where he is, or he forgets that Curt's trying to lead him into something so they can make it look good for both of them. And it looks sloppy and not well done. And Curt is flawless, of course. Again, perfect, right? No pun intended. But Curt looks great in this match. It's just, I think there's a little sloppiness from Mongo McMichael, and that's because he wasn't really a wrestler. He was more of a football player who would just come to wrestling because he couldn't play football anymore. Just kind of like Goldberg, that whole Goldberg thing. So I wasn't really much for Mongo McMichael because a lot of his matches are hard to watch because it's like you lead him into something and he doesn't follow. So he doesn't let you lead. He tries to lead, and it doesn't make any sense. Let Curt lead because he is the veteran. He's been wrestling longer than you, and you just kind of follow along and he'll make you look good. As they said, a night with Curt was like a night off. So, just a little sloppiness I wasn't really happy with, but the match gets a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 for Curt, but like a 9 out of 10 because of the fubs up, fubbing up, from Mongo McMichael. And I just recently heard that he is actually in the hospital and has cancer. I've seen pictures of him. He does not look good at all. He's lost a ton of weight. He doesn't look anything like the Mongo we remember. So, I wish him all the best with him and his family. And, I hope you beat cancer, Steve. And, you can move on from this devastation. So, I'm going to get everything together, and then we're going to go ahead and watch along to that match. So I guess I will catch you guys on the flip side. Okay, guys. Again, we're going to go to our Peacock subscription here. You're going to go to WCW Monday Nitro. This is September 15th, 1997. So we're on season 3, episode 37. And I am 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 48 seconds in. Now, this does have music in it, so I'm going to have to let it down until the match officially starts. We're gonna watch Michael Buffer here, so go ahead and hit play now. So, you can turn it up, you're fine, unfortunately, there will be copyrighted music in it, which is the NWO theme song. So, unfortunately, that's still copyrighted for these reasons. And we can't even hear the Michael Buffer stuff because in the background they're playing the NWO music. So I'm glad they kind of turned it up, but so we're going to watch these entrances, and like I said, this is WCW, so Curt, could take his time going to the ring, But it's not like AEW now or WWE now. It takes forever for them to get into the stupid ring. So there's Curt, sporting an NWO shirt. and I just think that, again, like I said in the beginning, this was an extension of his career, and he seems to think it didn't, this wasn't good. But it was. He was still on top of his game. He was still, the greatest wrestler to ever live, in my opinion. So I think this WCW run really just kind of added to everything. And like I said, I do apologize. It is really windy outside, so if you hear the wind, I do apologize. So, he actually, and like I said, if you have commercials in this, that's fine. You'll just meet up with me after the commercials, because this is where a commercial break would be. I don't have commercials, so, now Steve Mongo McMichael, he's gonna rush the ring. And, as soon as the Four Horsemen music stops, we're gonna turn it up. But right now, and he's actually gonna rush the ring here, so it's gonna be yep, okay, now he's running. And Curt catches him. Kudos to Curt. Caught him right there, Second generation, baby. My question is, now that AEW does this, do they, they go past the hour their time they're supposed to. Do they announce it? See, I don't know. I don't watch. You want Flair, go get him. Otherwise, be quiet. Oh, I love this. He's going to do the Indian Deathlock. Though he's trying to do it with Mongo's, Mongo wouldn't bend his leg. Hoorah.
Have the world title with Hogan, the tag championship belts with the outsiders, and they love the U.S. belt as well.
Well, you know what else they love to do tonight, don't you? Give Flair a roommate over at the hospital. They love to send Mongo there, and that's the man that can do it. Curt Hennig right in that ring. Hennig's been wrestling longer than Mongo's been playing football.
Ooh.
He's in a disadvantage on that match. He's got to play dirty.
Hennig chops Mongo, counters and comes back. Right hand and a forearm smash.
four horsemen. Everyone was talking about Curt Hennig. The horsemen were stronger than ever. Arn Anderson gave him his spot. They were stronger than ever. Now there's one man left. Shows you what can happen in such a short period of time here.
Mongo gamely tries to come back and connects with a boot to the head.
Yeah, he's got to quit using his legs. Use his arm. He's got to pick up his body. The man's a gorilla. Punch him.
Oh, gosh.
That's the right move, Larry. Grab the eye.
Hennig again works on the leg and pulls him out. Drives him down to the canvas.
This is a sad look at what happened.
See, everybody's looking at something in the crowd, but the match goes on. I don't know, it was probably some, rowdy fans or whatever. But I mean, it literally, they go on with the match. They don't worry about what's, happening over with the rowdy fans.
The head right off of Curt Hennig. He can do it. My Mongo, Steve, Flair, play dirty. Get dirty.
Mongo lifts him, throws him into the corner. I'm surprised that injured knee was able to support that. Follows up in the corner. Series of right hands delivered to the head. You can see Mongo favoring the knee as he wins out. Can Mongo sustain any kind of offense with that injured knee? That's going to be the question if he's going to be successful in defending the U.S. title.
In the back of Hennig's mind, he knows he's hurt that knee. He's just waiting for an opportune chance to get to it.
A top.
Yeah, well,
Coming out of the corner.
Oh, Curt's in the hospital bed. I'm telling you, he's out of it right now.
Inverted atomic drop by Mongo. Big lariat takes him down.
Cover him, Mongo!
Slow to cover.
Oh, he's favoring that leg. He's not going to make any mistakes. He's doing the right thing.
Again, repeatedly driving Hennig face first.
come on, dummy. Kurt's trying to lead you into something. And you can see that Mongo I don't know if he wasn't sure what to do. All you have to do, dude, it's like a dance. Let Curt lead, please. Hennig Plex. Alright, I gotta turn this down because there's gonna be music that comes on. But yeah, if you guys watch that carefully, you could see Mongo hesitate, and it's like, dude, don't hesitate. You're not letting Curt lead the match here, because Curt was a veteran, of course. So he wins the United States Championship title there, and he's gonna hold it up for everyone to see. Now, and that's kind of the end. So, I will put everything away and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I know that was a little bit, short. Unfortunately, they were already past the 10 o'clock hour. And like I said, I was told that they do that on AEW, but do they announce it? Do they even talk about it? I don't know. Like I said, I don't really watch AEW, so, I'll go ahead and, like I said, I'll put everything away and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Okay, guys, this is going to be a little short because I just got a call from my boss. He apparently hurt himself. So I'm just going to make this real fast. So this match, like I said, had a lot of issues with it. I just think that Mongo wasn't as polished and kind of thrown together with Curt. And Curt tried to make it real easy for him. I just think Mongo, like I said, wasn't polished or as polished as Curt was. And so there was a lot of missteps, kind of like in a dance when you don't let the guy lead. You kind of just do something to your own beat, so to speak. You drum to your own drummer, so to speak. So, thank you for listening, guys. I'm really sorry that I have to make this so short because I have to record other endings here. So, this is my ending to the Curt Hennig and Mongo McMichael and when he wins the belt. So, like I said, if you can, subscribe, like, comment, share on YouTube and on Rumble. I'm trying to get to 100 followers on Rumble. So if you can, just follow me on Rumble. If you would like, to follow me on YouTube, I am currently at, 72.95 is the count right now. So, thank you so much for your support on YouTube. If you are listening on YouTube, thank you. If you can become a Patreon supporter, please do so. All links will be in the description field, and if you can do $1, great. $3, $5, and $10, guys. If you can, please support me. I could really use that support on Patreon. Like I said, if you can just do $1, just do $1. I'm not gonna get that upset. But like I said, I do have to kind of keep this short because I need to get to bed here. But I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Without you, I am nothing. So it's all because of you guys that I am here and I am what I am, and I'm here because I'm here and because of you. So thank you so much. And remember, everyone, nobody beats Mr. Perfect. Nobody.